Jordan Petrovich for the council report.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank
Excellent.
you for asking. So lots happened yesterday.
It was a busy council meeting on Tuesday night.
You guys didn't get out of there until what, midnight?
No, it was like a 2 a.m.er.
A 2 a.m.er, man. Wow. Well, you guys must be tired. Anyways, anything happened? There was a lengthy discussion about the future of cultural services.
Yes. So there was a briefing note provided by the CAO to basically start the conversation around what is going to happen with the future of funding cultural services, essentially kicking horse culture. Right now, the agreement is joint funded between the regional district and the town, and there is a desire to keep that going. Council definitely talked at length last in the meeting about different ways to tackle this funding, but ultimately, in the end, they did pass a motion to continue pursuing with the regional district to look at joint funding this, because obviously people from the Area A area, as well as in town, take advantage of the services this organization provides.
I do too, so yeah. And there was a review of last year's CBT Community Initiatives program.
So the granting program for this year is actually going on now. They just hosted their open house shortly, a little while ago. But there was the final report from last year, over 18 projects that were funded, everything from school playgrounds to senior housing improvements to cross-country grooming equipment to gun ranges were included in that granting process.
All right. And Rotary Club, they were there. They were keen to obtain some town sponsorship funds.
Yeah, the Rotary has got their upcoming gala to promote the Leader in Me program. They were looking for a town sponsorship. However, with the discontinuation of the Grant and Aid program, council doesn't really have a channel to help fund that kind of stuff, so a motion wasn't passed. On that note, a lot of council members and staff are planning to attend the event on their own dime, but there isn't town funding available.
Right, okay. And reparative carrots?
Carrot report.
Carrot report.
I mean carrot.
The carrot report within the council report.
Yes. The Climate Action Review Incentive Program.
Climate Action Revenue Incentive Program.
There you go.
Okay.
Yes. Essentially, it is an environmentally based program, funded program that allows us to go after grants for energy improvements, efficiencies. So there was 2 projects that we're going to look into and bring back to council for further conversation. That being improving the lighting at the Recplex, or potentially looking at some heating equipment that can be utilized at the fire department. So when they open up the big bay doors, the heating systems go off and such.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the Modern Family recap. How did it go?
Modern Family was an amazing event. Lots of great comments from council on the event. We had 48 adults and 43 children attend the event, and a very powerful presentation by Marilyn Horton that evening. So, great event. Was definitely well worth
Awesome.
attending.
And there were some policy housekeeping amendments.
Yes. That time of year, traveling season is coming up for different conferences and such. So we have a policy that outlines when we should travel, when we shouldn't, and how much we should be spending and those kind of things. So some slight amendments made to that.
Okay, cool. And then there were some reserve resolutions and transfers. What is this?
Basically, it's just the last formal process of the budgeting. Throughout the course of the year, we've accessed different reserve funding to fund different projects and such. That all needs to be finalized and approved by council before all the stuff goes off to audit.
Awesome. And it was a busy night.
It was,
any staff reports? There was a few.
Lots of staff reports on the go last night. The first one, our planning department had a couple reports. The first one was a report discussing the upgrades that are being done at the credit union and the parking requirements that are associated with that facility. Way back in the day, there was some parking stalls associated to go in what's now the plaza at the credit union.
Mm-hmm.
Credit union also owns a property behind the bowling alley specifically for parking. So there was a report presented to council to allow us to get that up to the times in terms of what's realistically happening with the property.
Is that the parking between the bowling alley and the credit union? Is that between them, or is actually behind? Because
like the bowling alley and the River House area, there's a parking
lot
in that area
that
the credit union owns, and so there was a discussion around that side of things with council.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
This is something that I kind of heard about yesterday. A craft brewery company.
Yes. So there's an investor looking at bringing a craft brewery to Golden. So not a full-blown beer plant, but more of a microbrewery kind of concept. And there was a report presented to council last night to rezone the area over behind Mary's Motel and Glacier Rafting to allow for the development of a craft brewery. So the business owner is looking at potentially doing things like tours, potentially having a lounge in the space, and actually developing a business that has some great tourism economic benefits to the community, not just making beer.
Well, yeah, Arrowhead Brewery down in Invermere, they've got some solid, they've got a solid business down there. So I think something like that or up here would be very cool.
Yeah, and a lot of other communities around us, Canmore, Revelstoke, Banff, all these places have different concepts like this going. So we're excited about this one.
And in Benny Bylaws, there's tons that happened yesterday.
Yeah, basically in the bylaw department, a little bit of housekeeping. So the gateway bylaw, which we discussed last week, they've gone through second and third reading. They're holding for final adoption with that, just because the property owner doesn't know exactly what's going to happen with that property up there. And then there was the amendments to the duplex zoning bylaw that went through final adoption, and our budget went through final adoption now too. So that's 100% adopted and is now being loaded into our system and ready to go.
All right.
Yes.
And in new business.
New business. Their council did pass a motion to get a plaque made up to honor the late Mayor Red Scott, and that's going to be placed on our timber frame pedestrian bridge, as he was one of the true people who really advocated to make that project come to life.
Classy.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks all for coming in, Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan Petrovic, the council report.
Council report.
We'll see you next time in about 2 weeks' time.
Cheers.